Hey guys, this is a video article following up from an article I wrote a few days ago detailing my journey going through a sugar addiction and then finding a way to ultimately overcome this addiction. So this video is for people who are currently consuming more sugar than they wish to, who are somewhat addicted to sugar and bad foods, and who have an earnest desire to overcome this little period of their life and to be really based on a rich whole food diet which is strengthening their mind and their body. So in this video I want to share my story of going through this sugar addiction and then coming out the other side. But most importantly, I want to share the practical methods which I found really helpful for overcoming this addiction and getting back on the whole food bandwagon full time. So a little bit about my story going into a sugar addiction. My story is a bit of a funny one because I came across this addiction after becoming really passionately involved in holistic health and in fitness. I had been studying health and nutrition for perhaps a year or more, and this had become a daily practice. So every day I was studying this stuff about optimal nutrition and health. And I was also really into my fitness. I love lifting, sprinting, yoga and dance. I was starting to make inroads in my career as a holistic health educator and blogger. So yeah, I was like really into the health stuff, and I had been going great for a long time. I was on a whole foods diet, then I had transitioned into a ketogenic diet, which is where you cut out all carbs and all sugar. But then one day I fell off the perch of my perfect health, and I pretty much fell into a pit full of donuts. So what this means is that even someone who is so into health can come across this roadblock and fall into this addiction, even if it is for a relatively short period of time. So if I'm able to fall into it and then come out, I'm sure that anyone can fall into it and subsequently come out of it. So anyway, let's move to the practical methods that have helped me. May these methods be really helpful tools in your toolkit, and may they just serve as inspiration and motivation on your journey to overcome sugar and live healthier. So to give an overview of the 3 strategies and methods that helped me the most, these methods include 1. Eating by the plate. Then number 2 is the green smoothie habit. And then number 3 is when you don't eat sugar, you stop craving sugar. So let's go into these 3 main key ideas, these 3 big methods. The first one is called eating by the plate. I first came across this idea from a nutritionist named JJ Virgin. She's essentially an icon in the health field. So anyway, what is eating by the plate? Eating by the plate is when you focus on adding the right foods to every single meal rather than eliminating foods. This tactic is great because it's much easier to add food than to subtract it. So JJ Virgin, she recommends you have 3 core foods on every single plate that you eat in every meal. And those 3 food groups are healthy fats, clean protein, and fiber. Now, I can give a quick example, 2 quick examples of what it might look like to eat by the plate. So the first example is what you could call the caveman meal. So the healthy fat and protein may come from an animal product which is grass-fed, pasture-raised. So that's your fat and your protein. And then the fiber may come from a salad with leafy greens, some cabbage, some avocado, a bit of lemon. So in that meal, you have successfully hit high fat, high protein, high fiber. Well done. Another example of eating by the plate may be what I call the vegan super smoothie shake. This may include, for your healthy fat, some flaxseed and chia seed. For your protein, you could get a flavored pea protein powder. Then for your fiber, you can add in some berries, kale, and cacao. So Oh yeah, so with eating by the plate, there is that trifecta of the essentials, which is, as we mentioned, the healthy fat, clean protein, and fiber, or vegetables. And then there is a fourth optional thing you can add, which is gluten-free, slow-burning carbs. So the high quality carbs, your intact whole grains like some rice or quinoa, sweet potato, pumpkin. The main point is that they are like a whole food carb, preferably organic, which is slow burning and gluten free. So that's eating by the plate. The three major elements: protein, fat, fiber, then the optional element of slow burning carb. Now, eating by the plate, eating those essential ingredients in every meal in a high amount is great for overcoming a sugar addiction. There's a few reasons why it is so great. Number one is eating this way, it adds a lot of satiety or fullness. Carbs and sugar, especially refined sugar, they do not give you much satiety and fullness. I've found that when I jump on the carb bandwagon and eat too many carbs, I just want to keep eating the carbs and keep eating them. And they don't really fill you and sustain you in a pleasurable way, but it's more like you become an empty bucket. That's at least my experience. So carbs don't offer much satiety or fullness, whereas fat and protein, they are regarded to have much more satiety, and this is like understood in nutritional science. They are ranked higher for satiety. They fill you up and really sustain you. So getting a good source of fat and protein in every meal is essential if you want to overcome the inclination towards the sugar and the carbs as much. That's one reason eating by the plate is so good, the satiety. Another reason that eating by the plate is so handy is that it really upholds optimal health because it gives us all the essential nutrients in one big hit. We require protein, we require all the essential amino acids, we require healthy fats, namely omega-3 and omega-6, and we require fiber. Those three main things are like essential macronutrients. And furthermore, our sources of fiber also provide all the essential vitamins and minerals because we get fiber from plant sources mostly. So when we eat by the plate, every meal is a truly sustaining, life-giving meal, and that will just help uphold a very high level of health. Eating by the plate, it will provide you with everything you need, and therefore it increases your energy and it minimizes things like fatigue or moodiness or mental fog. It really primes you to be feeling your best. And when you're feeling your best, that helps you stay away from sugar as well. One more thing I'll add about eating by the plate is I do find adding these slow burning carbs to each meal to be a very helpful tool. While those carbs are not essential, and while having no carbs can be a great tool for health and for cognitive function, having those slow burning carbs in every meal in a moderate amount, I find it adds a lot of satisfaction and deliciousness to each meal, which helps to make eating by the plate more sustainable. Now, a few little tips, or at least two particular tips, to make this method of eating by the plate much more sustainable. Big tip one, to make it sustainable, is include a lot of variety. Variety is essential for sustainable, healthy living. So as you're eating by the plate, rotate in a lot of different foods. Have a lot of different flavors, including some sweet, sour, bitter, and salty. Include a bunch of different textures, including thin and crispy, thick and soft, watery, rubbery. Get those different textures and flavors going. Just to keep things exciting, to keep this eating by the plate method really sustainable and exciting for you. It's a great tool. The second and final extra tip for eating by the plate effectively is it's okay to want some sweetness, and you can implement sweetness. Some healthy forms of sweetness include sweet vegetables like sweet potato, pumpkin, and carrot. You can also include moderate amounts of fruit. And you can also, I also recommend raw honey, particularly raw honey. Now, while honey does have fructose, which is the sugar that makes you store fat and cause inflammation, raw honey has literally thousands of micronutrients and enzymes which can help mitigate the effects of a bit of fructose. So having a little bit of honey to sweeten a dessert at the end of your day, that should be fine. So have your sweet vegetables, a moderate amount of fruit in your day, especially berries which are very low in fructose. Have some raw honey, and you can also have artificial sweeteners like stevia and xylitol. So that's a few methods for involving sweetness. Have some sweet fruit and veg, a bit of raw honey, a bit of xylitol, but in moderation. And I've found that when you are eating by the plate, you really don't need as much sugar anyway, because having that high fat and high protein and that saltiness, that is very, very satisfying, and it's very healthy. So when you eat by the plate, you won't need as much sugar. You'll be full, satisfied, and healthy. That's a big idea number one. Eat by the plate. Get your protein, fat, and fiber. And slow burning carbs if you wish. Now on to the second big strategy that really helped me to overcome the sugar addiction. The second tactic is called the green smoothie habit. Now, I came across this habit purely on my own whim, but then later I actually discovered that there is some solid reasoning to this habit. Now, the green smoothie habit is quite simple. Whenever I get a sugar craving, I simply go and get a green smoothie. And then while I'm drinking my green smoothie, I will jot down 3 of the healthiest things I am doing in life in general. So these could be things that help my physical health, my mental and psychological health, my financial health, career health, just 3 of the healthiest things I'm doing. Another journal entry that I may do along with my green smoothie is I'll write down 1 to 3 things from the following categories. Some things that I am thankful for, some projects I'm looking forward to giving value with, and next, some things I'm looking forward to attaining, whether it be a new possession I want to buy, a holiday or a trip, whether it be an accomplishment, something I'm looking forward to attaining. So I jot down some of those 3 things, what I'm thankful for, what I'm going to create, what I want to attain. And I find that this green smoothie habit that I've described thus far, it's a really positive habit which is a replacement to binge eating. So it's really good to program that new habit. And furthermore, green smoothies, they literally dull sugar cravings. I have found they actually remove sugar cravings a large percentage of the time. And there's a few reasons for this. Number 1 is that green smoothies often have sour flavors and bitter flavors in them. And these flavors can curb our sweet tooth. The sour and bitter flavors can come from things like lime and lemon, mint, ginger, and kale. Kale is bitter as well. So if you can get some of those things in, that's very helpful. The second reason why green smoothies are good for mitigating sugar cravings is that they're often high in magnesium. And when we have excess sugar, it depletes our magnesium, which is a very essential nutrient. And so when we have a green smoothie, it really replenishes our magnesium. And you can literally feel an effect of this. For me personally, I find that the green smoothie, it helps me to feel both more invigorated and relaxed, which is what sugar gives you. But magnesium also helps to create those sensations of invigorated and relaxed. So that sums up the green smoothie habit. When you get a craving, you can have a green smoothie. You can write down maybe 3 of the healthiest things you're doing, 3 of the things you're thankful for or excited about, just a positive little journal, and your cravings should be dulled. A little caution is that try keep the green smoothie as sour and bitter as possible and avoid sweetness. Have a little bit of sweetness, but don't have like a lot of sweetnesses like banana plus pineapple plus pear plus carrot plus silver beet. Like focus on the sourness and the bitterness. So focus on the kale, ginger, lemon, lime, mint. If you think of anything else sour or bitter, add that to it. But you can have maybe one thing of sweetness. So yeah, that is the green smoothie habit. It's a little thing for your arsenal. And then the third main tactic or principle for beating sugar cravings is the simple principle that when you don't eat sugar, you don't crave sugar. Now, it's so simple, but it can be harder said than done. I want to quickly just touch on why sugar can be a vicious cycle and why going towards it makes you need it more, and why going away from it makes it way easier to stay away from it. Now, in a nutshell, sugar is a vicious cycle, and the first big reason why it is related to blood sugar. So when you eat a high sugar food, especially refined sugar, your blood sugar raises to a very high level, which will temporarily increase your energy, your mood quite significantly. But that increase is quite short-lived. Then your blood sugar plummets to being very low, and then your mood and energy correspond with that. And then the vicious cycle continues, you know? So that's one sort of key clarifier as to why having sugar makes you need it more. The second reason why sugar can be addictive and why it's hard to get off it when you're on it is that sugar causes inflammation, right? And that's because excess sugar can be toxic to the body. And when your body takes in something toxic, it sends immune cells, white blood cells, to the scene to try and repair the damage of the toxic buildup that's happening. Now, when we chronically consume a food that we are sensitive to, we actually build up colonies of white blood cells which are primed and ready to go. And these white blood cells, they actually send signals to us to crave the foods which are causing the reaction. Because the white blood cells are like, hey, we're primed, we're ready to go, come on, this food. So when you quit sugar or significantly lower your amount of sugar, you will have less of these white blood cells. You'll have less of the immune response waiting to happen. And when you have less of those white blood cells there, you're going to have less cravings sent to your brain and your body. So, yes, those 2 points of sugar, creating the blood sugar roller coaster, and then sugar creating the white blood cell response and the inflammation, that helps to clarify why being on sugar makes you stick to sugar more. And it also clarifies of how when you get away from sugar, it's easier to stay away, because you'll no longer have the peaks and troughs of blood sugar. Rather, you'll have a steady stream of blood sugar and a steady stream of energy thanks to the slow-burning carbs and the fats. They provide slow-burning, long-lasting energy. You'll have a consistently high mood and energy and focus in between meals. You'll literally be able to go hours without eating or thinking about food, because you'll just be so focused on the task and you'll be absorbed in the tasks, getting a really consistent supply of energy by eating by the plate. And furthermore, when you stay off sugar, it's easier to stay away from sugar because you don't have those white blood cells just waiting to attack. So you don't get the cravings in that sense. So to sum up that third key method for coming off sugar, it is simply when you stay away from sugar, it's easier to stay away from sugar, and the positive cycle continues. Now that pretty much completes those 3 main ideas I wanted to cover. So we'll do a nice quick summary, a bullet point summary, so it sticks in our noggin. So strategy number 1, do you remember it? Eat by the plate. Every meal, get high fat, high protein, high fiber, and if you wish, get some slow burning gluten-free carbs. Big strategy number 2 was the green smoothie habit. So when you get a sugar craving, drink a green smoothie. The sourness and the bitterness, it helps curb the sweet tooth, and the magnesium hit feels great. As you have your green smoothie, journal down all the great things you're doing, the healthy things you're doing, and what you're excited for. The third big tip is that when you eat more sugar, you need more sugar. But when you stay away from sugar, it's easier to stay away. So may that principle just give you more clarity and more motivation to stick the path. Well, that is essentially the completion of this video. I just want to say that I really hope a few of these ideas are helpful to you. Maybe my little methods here are not the be-all and end-all. Perhaps there's more for you to explore on your journey and you'll grab some of the best ideas from many places just as I did. But I'm just chucking out a few extra ideas that worked for me. I really hope that, the methods and strategies that you find work well for you, because it really will increase your quality of life, I'm sure of it, just as it has for mine. I see a huge difference in my own energy and functioning and mood and focus when I compare my clean eating days with my binge eating days. There is a big difference. It might not make the difference instantly, but after a few days or weeks of being on the rocky path, man, you see the difference. So I really look forward to how you're able to live after you make this change. I have found that getting free of an addiction, whatever the addiction is always extremely positive, because when our body and our brain returns to a natural homeostasis, that is when we're at our strongest. It's like being a version 2.0. So I wish you much well on your journey, and I look forward to seeing what the version 2.0 of you has to offer. Much love, much peace, much blessings.